Hello, my name is Carolina Falandes, and I'm going to present some reflections on the article Immersive Telejournalistic Narratives in the Covid-19 Pandemic, Reflections on 360-Degree Language on TV and the Web. This research was developed together with Professor Denis Renó, my doctoral advisor at São Paulo State University in São Paulo, Brazil. Following the structure of the study, I will start this presentation by talking about the introduction. It can be said that in order to build representations and meanings, telejournalism, in the context of transmediation, has relied on the interrelation of different languages, adapting itself according to the emergence of resources and interfaces. In this context, one can see the exploration of 360-degree audiovisual narratives, an emerging image modality used by the press as a mechanism to bring spectators closer to events. In the case of Brazil, the 360-degree journalistic productions made by communication companies in general go beyond the space of television and advance towards online support in order to instigate the participation of the enunciate through access to resources of interactivity. So, our investigation focuses on this process of articulation between TV and Internet, with the objective of pointing out reflections on the language of audiovisual content 360 degrees in journalism, proposing to analyze discursive strategies and technical specificities of productions disseminated through the television support and the online environment. To achieve this purpose, we examined the series of reports 360 degrees of Vírus na Favela, launched in 2020 by the program Balanço Geral Rio de Janeiro on Record TV Rio in Brazil. This production involves the exhibition of 3 chapters on TV and the dissemination of 4 videos on the YouTube channel, portraying challenges faced by residents of communities in Rio de Janeiro during the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, with regard to methodology, it can be said that the study is exploratory in nature and is supported by a bibliographic survey formed by discussions such as telejournalism, interactivity, and 360-degree narratives. Furthermore, for the analysis of the corpus, 3 principles of French semiotics proposed by Barros were explored: narrative syntax, discursive syntax, and discursive semantics. In addition, you used the semiotic analysis method for 360-degree films developed by Moreira. Our research starts from the understanding of Flocky, who states that for semiotics it is important to discuss form in terms of expression or content, or, in other words, the elements of language that produce meaning effects. Therefore, it is appropriate to recognize the 360-degree video as a semiotic device through which enunciations, enunciators, and enunciatees are linked. Also, the study takes into account the perspective of Medela and Oliveira, for whom 360-degree content challenges already established principles such as emarchion, screen, and instance of enunciation. Considering this context, we hope that the article can contribute to debate on elements that constitute the narrative 360 degrees in telejournalism. Likewise, The expectation is that the text will foster scientific views on the production of journalistic content for multiple screens in times of pandemic and disinformation, in order to think about interactivity as a device to make narrative experiences more empathic and transformative. Well, in the first theoretical axis of the study, we talked a little about the use of 360-degree video as an interactivity strategy in transmedia telejournalism. In a scenario of protagonism of multiple screens, increasingly interactive and hybrid, television has reinvented itself, bearing on the exploration of different digital platforms to disseminate content. For Salles Jr. and Knapp, this new phase of TV is aligned with the process of media convergence, especially with regard to the articulation between TV and the Internet. Scolari, on the other hand, classifies the current contemporary television context as hypertelevision, a term that seeks to represent narrative forms related to digital devices. In the case of journalistic programs, the exploration of various multi-platform strategies is noticeable, both to disseminate news in different media and to promote the approximation between the public and professionals of the television press. This practice connects with the reflections of Renó and Flores on the idea of transmedia journalism, a format supported by different contents, which are distributed by different media platforms and can reach different users due to the interactivity of the messenger. In these times of transmediation, journalistic TV programs have explored 360-degree video to foster interactivity between viewers and users. It is a type of format recognized for awakening the sensation of immersion in the place of a certain event. It is also important to clarify that the 360-degree images present different aesthetics, corresponding to the type of projection screen to be used. So, in television and other media that only support two-dimensional images, the overcapture technique can be used in order to include spherical content in traditional videos. Through this feature, it is possible to fully control the 360-degree angles that will be displayed to the viewer, using, for example, the little planet and hyperlapse effects. There are also the aesthetics of 360-degree images that depend on navigable interfaces. They are cinematic VR, which allows users to look across the space, and interactive VR, which allows participants to interact with objects and characters. From these last two aesthetics, the user can navigate the scenarios with the help of tools such as mouse movements, cell phone gyroscope, and virtual reality glasses. Well, to illustrate this a little, we are going to show two videos that are part of the series of reports analyzed in the article. Initially, an excerpt from the first episode of the TV will be present, showing scenes produced using the overcapture technique. The second video refers to an excerpt from one of the 360 degrees content released on YouTube, whose technique explored is cinematic VR.
O coronavírus não distinguiu classes sociais, atingiu todas elas, mas as comunidades têm sentido como ninguém os efeitos dessa pandemia. Por isso, juntos, nós vamos mergulhar nas favelas cariocas para ver de perto os maiores problemas trazidos pelo vírus. a falta de educação, de saneamento, de espaço para fazer o isolamento social, do acesso à saúde e também do impacto na economia local. É a nova série de reportagens especiais do Balanço Geral na TV e na internet em 360 graus. A Maré é o maior complexo de favelas do Rio de Janeiro e, naturalmente, tem o maior número de casos dentre todas elas. O problema é que a falta de acesso à saúde de qualidade, que é tão comum em tantas favelas brasileiras, piora ainda mais agora, durante uma pandemia. A ONG Redes da Maré estima que só aqui 70% das pessoas que tiveram todos os sintomas da Covid-19 não foram testadas e, portanto, nunca vão entrar nas estatísticas oficiais.
Tem uma parcela das pessoas que estão com medo, até comerciantes que estão até abrindo em outros horários, fechando, e tem pessoal também que não está acreditando.
Well, I think you could see the differences from one format to the other. While the overcapture technique directs the viewer's gaze, cinematic VR allows the user to move the mouse and navigate through spaces. And considering these enunciate strategies, it is valid to say that the imaging modality 360 degrees has the potential to incorporate the three aesthetics principles present in cyberspace narratives indicated by Murray: immersion, agence, and transformation. It is a technology of immersive essence which subverts the perspectivist logic of traditional images, at the same time that, by allowing spatial navigation, it promotes the agency of the enunciate. Also, by involving content that allows users to experience the stories, it can trigger transformative experiences. Thus, through this theoretical axis, it is understood that it was possible to present a demonstration of the new media ecology, a communication environment in constant evolution based on the convergence of supports, which challenges television and journalism professionals to idealize new narrative conventions to meet the interactional demands of contemporary targets. The narratives 360 degrees have been one of the bets in this search. However, then see to lack a consolidated language. It is necessary to better understand the circumstances surrounding this fact. And that was precisely what was sought in the second theoretical axis, to reflect on language 360 degrees. It can be said that it is from language that media communication unfolds. Medola explains that language, in a more general reading, can be understood as a structure organized by elements of representation, being a link responsible for the interaction between subjects, defined as a consequence of the methods and procedures that allow its analysis and/or construction. However, unlike television and cinema, with grammars already consolidated, Images 360 degrees still seems to seek a consistent language, which can win over more appreciators. And this perception has been observed in different studies. An example of this is the current phase of stagnation of productions 360 degrees in media in general. Mello and Menezes justify this moment of scarcity of images 360 degrees in journalism by pointing out that this type of content has been perceived as something expensive, complex, and with little capacity to attract the public consuming news. So, given the importance of language for communicational process, it is essential to think about the challenges inherent to discursive strategies and experiences of enjoyment located in the contemporary context, in which 360-degree images are included. In this sense, semiotic theory can support reflections on the grammar of this emergent expressive form. So, let's now go to the analysis of the series of reports. Initially, I will highlight some results obtained from Barro's three semiotic principles: narrative syntax, discursive syntax, and discursive semantics. Regarding the narrative syntax, it was found that all products, TV and web, demonstrate the same basic narrative program. The performances of the actors, reporter, and characters suggest that, in addition to all the social problems accumulated within a community, the pandemic configures one more. 3 videos in 360 degrees released on the web privilege the exploration of the scenarios, while one includes the entries and narrations by the reporter and the reproduction of the voices of the interviewees. In the case of discursive syntax, it was found that the temporal projection involves the daytime period. Projection of spaces refers to both indoors, like tiny houses, and outdoors, alleys, streets. Regarding the projection of a person, which was noted that the reporter's mission is to guide the life stories of community residents, especially in television episodes. The cameraman conducts the 360-degree content released on the web, and the interviewees set the tone of the speeches based on reports and experiences. As for the discursive semantics, it was observed that the theme addressed in the series refers to the economic and social vulnerability of the population living in slums in relation to care with the pandemic. On the other hand, figurative traits were noted in scenes that illustrate how precarious small and narrow-zone community environments are, as well as in the scenes of interviews with residents. Now we are going to highlight the results of the analysis made from the semiotic structure for films 360 degrees formulated by Moreira. 7 criteria established by the author were considered, as shown in the slide: animated graphic elements, human figures and their actions, small or complex locations, speech snippets and sound effects, photographic composition 360 degrees, camera movement, and scene light. Briefly, I will illustrate the results with 2 comments. It was possible to verify that TV productions have a hybrid proposal and are based on several languages, such as graphic elements, conventional videos, and videos 360 degrees from the overcapture technique. On the other hand, the contents of the web, in part, are configured as interactive versions of the videos 360 degrees presented on TV. Finally, we can conclude that there is still a long way to go to bring the public closer to this content on TV, as it seems that, in general, producers do not see this type of image as the main narrative, but rather as an accessory innovation in the composition of traditional reports. Still, it was possible to prove that through semiotics it is possible to investigate discursive and technical elements present in audiovisual content 360 degrees. Thank you very much for your attention.